Out Tuesday with licensed professional counselor Unetta Spring.
Hey, y'all, it's Talking Out Tuesday with licensed professional counselor Unetta Spring.
Yeah. Hey, good morning, Rickey. What's up? How y'all doing?
Hey, we doing good this morning. So happy to have you. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and today we're going to talk about ways that you can be mindful of our mental health, even if we feel like we are fine. Welcome to the show this morning. And but I mean, just to get started, tell us how, why is it so important to consider therapy, even if you are fine or managing life all right?
Yes. I think it's so important. This is a great question. Why it's important to consider therapy when you're feeling fine is therapy helps you maintain your well-being, right? So if you are feeling okay or you're fine, you can find out if you really are fine. And it helps you to maintain and prevent future mental health issues, right? So we always say this, like you go to the doctor for regular checkups to maintain your physical health. Therapy can help you maintain your mental health, right? And therapy can also help you with gaining insight of your thoughts and your feelings and your behaviors. Y'all can't tell you how many adults that I see that don't know how to name their feelings. They don't know how they feel. I say all the time, like, I work with the children that live in adult bodies, right? Because oftentimes, most folks don't get what they need or didn't receive what they needed as a child. So then they can't develop as a healthy, functional, mature adult. So therapy can kind of help you with that inner child healing, so you can experience personal growth and self-awareness, and help you develop coping skills so you can deal with stressors and challenges as an adult when you're in difficult situations.
Well, Unetta, what are some ways to know if you're well?
Yeah, so, knowing you're well, understanding like wellness is a spectrum, it's subjective, it's going to be different for each person, right? But some key indicators of wellness is really looking at some basic foundational things like your outlook. Are you oftentimes negative? Are you oftentimes expecting bad things to happen or very pessimistic? If you have more so like a positive or realistic outlook, you can be more, that can show that you're on that spectrum of wellness. Another thing to look at, which I think we ignore, is our physical health. So prolonged, unaddressed mental health issues or unprocessed trauma oftentimes leads to chronic illness. So if you aren't physically well, then it can be very likely that you aren't mentally well as well. And then also looking at things like, I always say, if it's hysterical, it's historical, right? So if you have a hard time managing stress, you're flying off the handle every time something happens and popping off, then that stress needs to be addressed. And often you can do that with talking with a therapist and kind of getting to the core of what's happening with you.
So, why is it important to talk about our emotions, even if we feel like, honey, it won't change anything? So I could kind of sometimes talk about that. My thing is, it depends on who you talk to. Mm-hmm. What you think?
Absolutely.
Because I have certain people that I can talk to and release, and certain people I can't talk to,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've all been in situations like that when we call somebody because we're dealing with something or going through something, and then it turns around and now you talk about their problems.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, I called you because I had something, and now you haven't even listened to me, So one thing I always stress is you are your situation. So we are the common denominator in anything and everything we encounter. So I think sometimes when we have challenges, we feel like there's no need in talking about this because it's not going to change these environmental or these external factors. But therapy is about really working on your internal so that you can either look at your external differently or you can make different decisions and understand why you're making some of those decisions that are negatively impacting your life in some way, shape, or form. So understanding that it may not necessarily change the people or the places around you, but therapy is for you.
Yeah, I love that.
Right? Talking about you is helpful.
That's good stuff, Unetta. And I know for my own experience with therapy, it's just really great to understand how my mind is working. Unetta, one of my biggest challenges was finding a therapist. Like, where do I start looking? So for folks who do want to get into finding a therapist, where are some places they can look?
Yeah, so I created a whole directory. It's called the Groundbreakers Therapy Directory. You can find it on groundbreakerstherapydirectory.com. It's going to give you a list of therapists, EMDR, BIPOC therapists, which is a specialized group of therapists that can really help you in your area. So that's a place you can find. I can list other places on my site as well because there's tons of directories. And I have a workbook to help you while you're waiting. So if you are looking for a therapist, you're contemplating therapy, Take the Struggle Out of Self-Care, 6 Weeks to Create Your Self-Care Strategy is waiting on you on Amazon. So you can always order that to start your process. I think it's really helpful.
Man, we are so happy to have you. And then, of course, we want everybody to know that Talk It Out Tuesday segment, this Talk It Out Tuesday segment is not meant to take place of actually going to therapy, but it's a start. So you can always get more information on YanettaSpring.com. Y'all give it up and show your love right now for Yanetta Spring. Yeah, thank you. All right, we are happy to have you. More Rickey Smiley Morning Show coming up.